You are listening to the 90 Days Later podcast with Anna Charles, episode 168.
Welcome to the 90 Days Later podcast, where I show you how life with less alcohol is more fun than you think. I work with high achievers who struggle to drink a glass of wine without it turning into 2 bottles. I'm the one they call when they want to take it or leave it. So if you want to change your relationship with alcohol that doesn't involve counting days sober, you're in the right place.
Hello everybody and welcome back to the podcast, the judgment-free place to decide and look at how to change your relationship with alcohol so that it is a healthier one and one that you believe serves you better. Now, today, I want to talk about something that comes up pretty frequently, not all the time, but pretty frequently. It's one of those things that kind of sneaks up on people. And this is the topic of giving yourself permission to change your mind. Now, how this tends to show up is people tend to start off thinking, I just want to moderate, Anna. I just want to have a couple of glasses. Maybe I just want to drink socially. I don't want to drink at home anymore. And then as we move through, they start to realize, actually, maybe I don't want to drink at all. And maybe sometimes this thought, this desire was always there, but it was way too big, way too far off, way too scary to contemplate, right? And I do remember this. I empathize with this. The idea of not having Chablis in my life at all was like, what? No. So that is there, but then it sort of sneaks up, and then people sometimes feel embarrassed, right? They feel like they don't want to think that they can change their mind. So I want to talk about that. That's how one way it shows up. The other way it shows up is that they actually take a break from alcohol, right? They actually come in and they do quite a few days actually off. But then they start wondering, really, could I have a drink every now and then? I mean, is that going to work? Or am I just going to sort of revert to form and drink a whole bottle? Would that be okay? Right? Because the fear creeps in. What if I make the wrong choice? What if I change my mind again? What if I fail? Right? This is the topic for today, because I want you to think changing your mind is not failing. Changing your mind when it comes to this is you getting to know yourself more. You now have more information, and I actually consider it growth. I consider it looking at and saying, look, I'm not embarrassed to say I've changed my mind. We live in a society where, and so often actually, even with this work, I say decide and move on, decide and move on. But when it comes to the big goal, it's totally okay to change your mind. So in this episode, we're going to unpack why it's normal to feel undecided about your relationship with alcohol. That's a good one. How to let go of the pressure to make a forever decision, and how to trust yourself no matter what you choose. So if you've been feeling a bit stuck in indecision, if you fear this whole topic has been the thing holding you back because you don't know that you can decide and you might want to change your mind and you're thinking that's sort of not the thing to do, well, this is for you. So let's dive in. So first, let's understand your relationship with alcohol. And one of the first things I always ask my clients when we start working together is, how do you want that to look, right? What do you want your relationship with alcohol to currently look? And a lot of people say, I'd like to be able to just have a couple of glasses or whatever it is. I mean, they have some kind of firm idea. Quite a large number of people say, I don't really know. And I have an idea, but I'm not really sure. And then when we dig into this, actually what comes out is they say, I just know I want something different. That is very, very common, right? I feel like I drink too much, but I don't know what cutting back would look like. I didn't even realize I had a relationship with alcohol. That's one of my favorites. Yeah, I mean, we don't know this to start with, right? We're just doing the drinking thing because it's fun. Now, this all makes total sense. Alcohol is so ingrained in our culture that most of us don't even question it, right? We know this. We drink at weddings, birthdays, business dinners to celebrate, to cope. It's just what we do, right? And so when we say we want to change, that's kind of like step one, like you're a bit, so what's going on there? I used to feel like the weirdo. And then when people say, so what does that mean? What are you going to do? And then if you don't really know, that kind of is a bit confidence knocking too. So when you start asking yourself, do I actually want this in my life? I want so much wine in my life? It can feel confusing. I mean, it really can. And that's okay. It's okay to not know what you want right now. It's okay to take your time figuring it out. We do not have to have all the answers. But here's something I want you to hear loud and clear. You have the power to decide what works for you. And just as importantly, you do have that power to change your mind. Because I get it, change can feel scary. And a lot of people think, look, if I stop drinking, I have to commit forever. Or if I'm going to moderate, I have to stick to that, right? No matter what. But it's really just not true. I want you to think about it. We change our minds about jobs, relationships, and even food, even the food that we like. So why should drinking be any different? So let's decide you want to drink less. Maybe for you that means cutting out weeknight drinking or saying no to drinks you don't actually want, or maybe experimenting with alcohol-free social events. By the way, that third one can be heaps of fun. And then a few months later you realize, I actually feel better not drinking at all. Or again, as I say, maybe you decide you take a break and then you decide, you know what, I want a glass once in a while. But here's what happens when people join my process, however they're coming in and whatever your goal, and even if you're undecided. One of the main things that I teach is being intentional, being conscious, being aware. I mean, this is really where it all begins and ends. It doesn't matter how long you've been doing this or not. Being intentional is really, really, really key. And when you start to be intentional, so you set yourself a goal, right? So maybe I just want to drink in moderation, or I want to just give up, or however that looks for you. I mean, I see all sorts. Then when we become more intentional, things seem to happen such as, well, I'm realizing maybe that alcohol actually doesn't make me feel relaxed. That's what some people tell me. It just makes me feel tired. I know it was confusing, relaxed and tired. I even had somebody the other day, I do get this quite a lot, and it's always one of those aha moments, is I actually don't really enjoy the taste as much as I did. I had someone say, look, I was drinking, I had the first few sips, and I really just didn't like it. I hadn't, this client hadn't had any for a little while. She'd had quite a few dry days and decided she maybe didn't really enjoy the taste. And these are kind of big awarenesses that we have, and they can kind of hit us over the head, and we can have to, sometimes we want to sit and think about this. You know, to have gone through 20 odd years saying how much you like it, to all of a sudden realize actually maybe because now I'm conscious I don't. And that's a big thing. Other people tell me, look, I thought I needed it to have fun, but I actually feel better without it. I have people all the time who tell me, look, I don't have hangovers, so I don't have the physical thing, so it's not really necessary to remove it from my life because I don't suffer. And then when they do take a break for quite a few days, or we heavily reduce the quantity, they actually say, look, I was having daily hangovers, but they were just so there. It was just so much a part of my life that I didn't see it. So then when we start to really see, okay, now I understand how I feel actually about alcohol and how it is changing my life and changing how I show up for my life. And again, this is judgment free. So we just see the change. This is where people sometimes say, look, I actually don't think I want it in my life anymore, but it is so scary to say those words. This is where the fear kicks in, because they say, but I really just wanted to have a glass or two. And, you know, what if I can't stick to this, right? What if I say now I want to not have it at all? What if I can't stick to this? And what if I change my mind again? Right? But here's again the thing. Changing your mind isn't about getting it wrong. It's about learning what's right for you. And what's right for you today might be different from what's right for you next year. And that is okay. You are not locked into any decision. You don't have to sign on a dotted line. You have the right to adjust. So if the idea, I mean, this is the way to test this, if the idea of committing forever to, let's use the two buckets, right, to being take it or leave it, so a sort of moderate drinker or not drinking at all, if the idea of committing to either of those feels stressful, then don't. Instead, just ask, what feels good for me right now? What is my current goal? And then we move from there. Now, I want to give you some practical strategies to regain trust in yourself if you feel that you've sort of been sitting in this I don't know and I don't want to commit and what if I change my mind space. Here are a few things to try. You could take a break from alcohol for a set time. Right, there's no pressure. This is not sort of like I've got to count a perfect streak of dry days. We're just going to do this for curiosity. It's just a little experiment, right? So maybe just decide I'm going to take a couple of days off, or I'm going to take a week off, or I'm going to have a go at taking 30 days off. And again, it isn't about being perfect and having that streak of dry days, but just to notice how you feel. What is it like? What do you miss? Is this what you want? Do you want more of the same? Because actually, if we don't know or not sure why we drink, actually taking a chunk of time where we come away from it will give us that answer. Another thing you can do is you can keep just a simple journal, right? This is not doesn't have to be some really arty, long, flowy thing. You just take it's like taking your blood pressure every day. Just see, how am I feeling? What's going on for me? Is this good? Is this working out? You can write down what you drank, how you felt, what you noticed, right? Third, give yourself permission to change your mind, right? If you try moderation and it doesn't work and you'd rather just sort of give up entirely, no problem. If you stop drinking and later decide to have a drink, that's okay too, as long as you plan it and you do this with intention. Remember, intention is so critical. Your brain is going to want to make a nice little habit out of this, a pattern out of this. Our brains like to be efficient. Our brains don't like to think. Our brains are inherently quite lazy. So however you deal with this, you just need to have some level of intention and foresight with it and check that how it feels. And if it feels good and that's what you want, then that's the way to go. Remember, your relationship with alcohol is yours. They're all different. Each of us are different, just in the same way that your relationship with your spouse is different and your relationship with your daughter. You might have a friend and you'll have a relationship with her. If I have a relationship with that same person, it will be totally different to yours, right? This is an individual thing, an individual decision, and it is allowed to evolve. So here's a quick recap. It's okay to be unsure about what you want your drinking to look like. You do not have to make a forever decision today or actually on any day. You have full control over how you approach this. Changing your mind isn't failing, right? It's just you evolving. And if you treat this as an experiment, I'm just going to try this out, that will feel a whole lot lighter. So I just want to leave you with a question. What feels right for you at the moment? Not forever, not for next year, just for right now. And then take action from that place. And if you want help, if you want support figuring this out, if you're ready to do this, right? If you have the good life, you just think you drink a bit too much and this is great. You're getting value from the podcast, but you just want to do this now. You want me to give you the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 step to get there. Go to 90dayslater.co and book a call. I know how to help. I can help. I look forward to speaking with you. Otherwise, I will see you on the podcast next week.